125 is the most significant number. These anniversaries are not something to take for granted. They are wonderful signs that look how long the synagogue has been here. 1900, things very different.
I think being here for 125 years is so important for our community.
It's definitely a milestone. There aren't many institutions that make it 125 years. And there aren't many Jewish institutions on the West Coast that have made it that long.
The fact that we are still here 125 years later, to me it's symbolic of the continuity of our people.
There's a balance here, and 125 years you can tell that there's a strength to this congregation. To me it's really, the staying power is what it really means.
125 years is a very long time, and the fact that we have continued for that period of time, have been able to grow and prosper during that time, is very heartwarming.
It's like you look back and you go, really, 125? How did that happen?
Here's how it happened. The founders of this community came to Northern California in search of gold, but they would ultimately create and come away with a different kind of treasure, a treasure we know as Mosaic Law Congregation. In 1900, 7 families broke off from Congregation B'nai Israel to form Chavrat Torat Moshe, Mosaic Law Congregation. Over the next 2 decades, the capital region saw an influx of Jews from the East Coast and the Bay Area, so much so that in 1917, the synagogue expanded from various downtown back rooms for services to its first formal structure at 1418 H Street in downtown. Over the next 20 years, under the leadership of Rabbi Ephraim Brosen, the size of the synagogue doubled. That era saw the creation of the Hebrew School and the Sisterhood. A major part of the synagogue, former President Mark Cohen of blessed memory spoke highly about in this video from MLC's centennial celebration in 2000.
First of all, the Sisterhood was always the backbone of the synagogue. Anything that happened that was worthwhile, the Sisterhood did it. And that's still pretty much the same way it is today.
During the same time period, a great tool of communication was implemented by 2 members of the community.
Creation of the scroll. The scroll is still the newsletter of Mosaic Law, and it was Isidore Brosen and I who invented the scroll, and we're very proud to be the inventors.
Eventually, a new site for the synagogue was purchased on 23rd and K Street, a campus former President Alan Brodowski notes was a major part of his childhood.
Brings wonderful memories to mind. As a child, running up and down the stairs in the social hall, attending my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary, celebrating my bar mitzvah and confirmation, and attending AZA events.
Rabbi Joseph J. Ehrenkrantz served as rabbi in the 1960s. Just listen to how former Presidents Leo and Alex Fawn of blessed memory described Ehrenkrantz.
He was a wonderful, wonderful man. And he had a talent for choosing the right people for the right positions.
And to my memory right now, he was professionally and as a rabbi, the outstanding, spectacular rabbi by comparison to others, was a marvelous individual from the standpoint of memory, standpoint of heart.
Ehrenkrantz helped bring in our first full-time cantor, Chazan George Wald, who represented just one of many groundbreaking changes that would take place over the next few decades. In the 1970s, Rabbi Joseph Goldman became senior rabbi. In that same decade, Mosaic Law would find its new home on Sierra Boulevard, where our community broke ground for our sanctuary in November 1974. The late former president, Mort Friedman, remembered that day fondly.
I recall the groundbreaking here quite vividly. As a matter of fact, I think when I became president again, there was a picture of the groundbreaking that was in the sanctuary for the high holidays. And the picture does demonstrate that I happened to be one of the 5 people that had a shovel in their hand participating as far as the groundbreaking was concerned, with Ernest Fawn and Lou Brodowski and several other congregants.
We decided that we would sell seats in the main sanctuary. We sold seats and sold windows, various things on the bima in order to build a sanctuary. And I might say that I thought we did a good job.
Indeed, a historic moment for the synagogue and city, but the history was just beginning in a community where lay leaders and visionaries stepped up. Among them, Arlene Pearl of blessed memory. She was the first woman to serve as president of any conservative congregation in America.
I was a co-president of Sisterhood first before I became president of the synagogue. And I can remember, I think it was Rabbi Goldman actually, who asked me if I would consider becoming the president of the congregation.
Pearl paved the way for other women synagogue presidents across the country, including Deborah Hoffman Gonzalez in our own community.
Change sometimes needs to happen, and not all change is bad.
In the early 80s, under the leadership of President Dr. Marvin Kamras, the synagogue saw a boom.
What was gratifying to me as president was the activity level of our congregation. I saw our congregation grow. The activity level, whether it was social functions or religious functions, was robust. And seeing the congregation through the eyes of our children and their activity level was very gratifying to me.
Gratifying as well to then up-and-coming leader Dr. Stephen Polanski, who also served as president in the 80s.
My business partner, Marvin Kamras, guilted me into becoming president. Jewish guilt is really strong, and I'm glad he did.
Later in the 80s, Rabbi Lionel Moses became MLC's senior rabbi. Dr. Bob Zeff of blessed memory spoke highly of Moses.
And he also was a very, very excellent rabbi. He was a scholarly type of person.
Rabbi Moses, that we learned a lot together, and I became his confidant in some ways, and he became mine.
Then came Rabbi Reuven Taff.
I was president at a very special time. In our history, Rabbi Taff started his tenure as rabbi as I started my presidency. He is a great friend and was a great rabbi to work with. Our congregation grew to over 525 regular and 40 associate members.
It was an awesome responsibility and also an honor to help create a sense of belonging and a strong Jewish connection to our Sacramento Jewish community, as well as to the people of Israel.
During Taft's tenure, the synagogue once again grew in membership and physically expanded with the creation of the very room we're in tonight, the Center at 2300 and the Cashenberg Ostro Hayward, or KOH, Library.
The library has been incredible. They are the Jewish Cultural Center for the entire Sacramento region. And again, we're proud to have them on campus. And the center has had its own little bumps in it. Listen, I celebrated both of my kids' bar and bat mitzvahs in there. It's a wonderful asset to not only our congregation, but our communities.
Another wonderful asset, Shalom School, which came onto our campus in 2007.
So at that time, the Shalom School was in existence, but it was in what was rapidly becoming a rundown facility on Wide Away. And so ultimately, I think it came to persuade the Mosaic Law congregation, the board of the congregation, to work out some sort of arrangement where on this large campus, the school could be built and still be autonomous.
Due to the generosity of the Friedman family and many other members of our community, we were able to find a new home for the Shalom School here on the Mosaic Law property.
Indeed, there have been many proud moments for the community in the 21st century, including most recently the hiring of Rabbi Ben Herman as senior rabbi. He notes much of the success of the synagogue could not happen without the hardworking staff.
I have a wonderful team here with Karen, with Coral, with Canna Rachel's, Rabbi Lobel, and Darvel and Kiko. It's a wonderful staff. And Rick, of course, Rick Francis.
As for some other standouts,
the Kiddush lunches, which are run by volunteers, that we have volunteers in here cooking for hours on Thursdays or Fridays, and it's a labor of love.
You have the young families, you have singles, you have seniors, you have couples with older children.
So one of the most gratifying things
that I was able to participate in was working with Cantor Rosner to initiate the MLC 2030 group, a group of 20 and 30-year-olds. We had been talking about wanting to engage younger people in the congregation. That group is still going strong. I know of one shidduch that came out of that group, and it still feels pretty good to know that I helped get that started, and that they're still having lots of events.
Well, the easy one is that we won the Latka Cup when I was president against B'nai Israel. So I am lifetime undefeated in the Latka Cup, and that was the final Latka Cup played. So we are victorious in perpetuity, and it happened on my watch. That's about the only thing I contributed. I was not on the team.
But with the funny and fun days also came the tough days.
Where it gets a little bit more difficult when we have October 7th. When all of a sudden, you have a normal day going along, and then the next day you're sort of thrust into a major international, atrocities occurring, and how do we respond as a community?
What kept you up at night?
COVID, masks, vaccinations, and angry neighbors.
The same week that everything started shutting down, and we had an intense conversation during the meeting about whether we should hold services next Shabbat. Do we need to close? What are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? Huge challenge. I remember during the meeting saying to everybody, oh, you know what? Maybe we should just shut down for a couple of weeks and then it'll be over. I was wrong.
On a Sunday, the skies opened up and it just rained and rained. And I remember being at my house and saying, what are we going to do? And finally going over there at about 1 p.m. and the water was up to my ankles and beyond. And the rain was crashing through the ceiling so badly and hitting the electricity that there were sparks everywhere. And it was quite scary. Without any phone calls, without anybody doing anything, congregants started showing up with mops and buckets and rescuing the situation.
Money. Money is always the challenge.
But it's a different story when you have to see how the sausages are made from the other side. It requires financial oversight as well as personal sensitivity.
So we were in a recession, and we had trouble making payroll, which is not a claim to fame anybody wants on their term. Dues weren't coming in, revenue was bad, and it was really, really, really challenging to ask our congregants to financially step up. We survived, obviously.
It's that survival and leadership that enabled this synagogue to keep going into the future, a future Mosaic Law's leaders of the past and present believe will shine bright.
It's been very prominent in my life, and I feel very deeply committed and involved with the congregation. I love this community.
And I think it's wonderful. People enjoy it. And I hope they continue to enjoy it, and I hope that we do prosper in all our endeavors.
It's the place where I met my wife. It's the place where we have 4 children that had bar and bat mitzvahs here. And I hope that it's here for generations to come.
I feel very privileged to have served as president, but more importantly, I feel very privileged to be a member of this community. And we need to look at 125 not as a milestone that we say, oh, we made it, but rather as a new beginning to say, what can we do for the next 125 years?
We have a responsibility to make sure that we help to squire this congregation and the meaning of this congregation to the greater Sacramento Jewish community for many, many years to come. And that's our responsibility, but a responsibility that we accept with joy.
125 years to me means longevity. The fact that Mosaic Law, the leading congregation in our community, is still strong, is achieving success on so many levels, is an open and inviting place, is a testament to all the things that we have been doing that are right. So congratulations, Mosaic Law, for 125 years.
My hope is that Mosaic Law congregation continues to grow as a welcoming synagogue, not just in name, but in action. I hope that we have people finding their community here, that we thrive, l'dor vador, from one generation to the next.
MLC's 125th anniversary is not just a celebration of time. It's really a celebration of the people who have made the congregation what it is. So special. And it fills me with great pride to have been a part of a place that continues to nurture and uplift all those who walk through its doors. To see our synagogue reach this amazing milestone is a reminder of how important community is in all of our spiritual journeys. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have been a small part of this congregation's story. May our shul continue to grow, mechayil l'chayil, from strength to greater strength. And let us all say, Amen.